That won't be necessary, Your Majesty. I can assure you I am more than capable of finding the boy myself. No, Your Majesty. You do remember what happened the last time you sent the Royal Guard marching throughout the kingdom, yes? Then please, allow me to handle the matter myself. I assure you that I'll do all I can to see it settled, as discreetly as possible, of course. Of course, Your Majesty. Very well, Your Majesty. I'll begin with searching for Her Highness immediately and persuade her to tell me. Well, that was needlessly stressful. But surely the king wouldn't do something so drastic as sending his royal guard out a second time. Who am I kidding? I better find that boy first. What the... Your Highness... Haha, yes, very funny. Now where have you been? Your father... Yes, very well. Here, over here. Now, where have you been? Your father's halfway towards losing his senses over this entire situation, and in the midst of it all, you, once again, managed to disappear. Honestly, how you can manage to sneak out of the palace without any of the guards noticing is beyond me. Yes, I suppose you do have a knack for sneaking away at the most inconvenient of moments. But back to the matter at hand, where have you been? Well, of course it matters. Your father is on the brink of a tirade, and as per usual, it's been made my responsibility to keep him from doing anything rash. And if this little incident that you created isn't cleared up soon enough, your father will take matters into his own hands, and you and I both know that that is the last thing either of us want. Oh, really? If I remember correctly, Your Highness, just last night at the royal banquet, your father had just announced your arranged courtship ceremony to all the noble houses in attendance, with the purpose of preparing you to take your first steps towards taking the throne. And then you, only mere moments later, walked up to your father's seat and proclaimed loud enough at full volume for all in attendance to hear that you had a suitor already picked out for yourself, thereby causing that little vein in your father's head to swell up, as it does, followed by him screaming and cursing like a man possessed. So, Your Highness, with that in mind, how exactly are you not at fault for this? That's exactly what I thought. Now come on, Your Highness. I've known you long enough to at least predict what you're thinking. I know you're far from happy about the idea of being married off without your consent. To be completely honest, I'm not exactly thrilled about it myself. Well, of course I'm not okay with it. Who would be? The whole concept of an arranged marriage is just so forced and hasty. I simply believe that a relationship that's fostered more, well, organically, is more likely to be successful, as well as being less messy. Although, these are simply my own thoughts on the matter. Your Highness, you really shouldn't ask questions you already know the answer to. I may be your father's advisor, but I can't actually make him do anything. Well, to be fair, you weren't exactly trying to spark up a relationship with anyone. I imagine His Majesty thought you were taking too long in selecting a suitor, so he decided to, as I've already said, take matters into his own hands. Look, I understand that the other noble heirs are a bit much, but there's hardly anything wrong with them. I can assure you, I've never said anything like that. Why are you staring at me like that? Fine. I think they're a bunch of arrogant, self-important, spoon-fed, bottom-feeding, knuckle-dragging morons with a brain cell shared between a lot of them. And that little tidbit will stay between the two of us, yes? Good. Look, I understand what you're doing. You simply want to make your own choices, chart your own destiny, choose your own love, all free from the shadow of His Majesty and court intrigue. More than anything, I just wish I was in a position to help you. But the way you're going about this is just going to make your father tighten his grip further. And I think we can both agree it's tight enough already. I know it seems bad, but it hardly needs to be the end of the world. Between you and me, you'd be surprised how many kings and queens have had lovers outside their marriage due to similar circumstances. For example, do you remember meeting the King of Astra? Do you remember the Queen's handmaiden, and how she and the king interacted throughout the evening? See, it need not be the end of the world for you. No one's expecting you to fall in love with any of the noble heirs. And sure as hell no, I'm not. But at least it could still work out for you in the end. Yes, that is true. I suppose they would be expecting you to bear an offspring eventually. But who's to say it needs to be a noble child? No one need be the wiser. I'll help you in any way I can in covering it up. And if any of the noble brats that you might wind up marrying gives you any trouble over the matter, well, let's just say I have a few unsavory friends outside the palace wall myself, who would love any and all excuse to give any noble cretin a good scare. Though that also stays between you and me. Agreed? No, I suppose you do have a point. Being forced to live your life in secrecy wouldn't be nearly as fulfilling. If only you and your mysterious lover had the option to simply be. But while we're still hovering around the subject, Your Highness, would you please tell me who this mysterious suitor is? As you can imagine, it's very important that I find out before your father does. You and I both know how he can be. What do you mean? Your commoner love interest? The one you have everyone in the kingdom gossiping about, from peasants to the royal court? The whole reason I came looking for you before your father did. Your Highness, I may look young for my age, but I can assure you I was not born yesterday. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Last night you announced in front of everyone that you had a... Wait, what? Oh dear God. Let me get this straight. You're telling me that you never actually said you had a secret lover, but rather that you were already in love with someone. And this entire fiasco was blown out of proportion by your father, who, as per usual, jumped to conclusions. Is that what you're telling me? Oh, of all that... Of course your father went and blew this out of proportion. I should have expected nothing less at this point. His Majesty is capable of much, making choices that affect the entire country as a whole for the better, but he loses all sense of rationale and judgment when it comes to you. I blame myself for failing to see the depth of the situation. I appreciate that, Your Highness. Hopefully this matter will be resolved once I inform your father. However, I am still curious about who this mysterious man who's caught your heart could be. I can promise you my utmost discretion, Your Highness. What you say to me will stay between the two of us. Please, Your Highness, I'm not your father. I have no intention of trying to scare him off. I trust your judgment in picking out a reliable suitor for yourself. I simply wish to know, so if the need arises where I need to come to either of your aids, I may be able to do so swiftly. Yes, of course. Can't be too careful about this now, can we? Lest we have another incident on our... What was that? What? Your Highness, please be serious. Oh my goodness. You are serious, aren't you? Well, I suppose I would be lying if I said I felt nothing for you. Especially after that. But we can't, Your Highness. You know why. You're a princess and soon-to-be ruler of Danarin. You and I could never... Honestly, I don't know what to think right now. Though, I should expect that by now. You're always leaving me speechless with your antics, especially with the amount of times you manage to get yourself into trouble, as well as the amount of work I have to do keeping you out of trouble with your father. You know, out of all the nobles in all the realms, I believe you have single-handedly given me the most grief, as well as the most excitement. I can surely say nothing around you stays boring for long. Well, I suppose if I am to spend my life with you, I'd best get more prepared in dealing with your antics. Yes, it means exactly what you think it does. Now, come closer. Tell me, does this mean I'm to address you differently when we're alone now? I figured as much. How about darling? Would you like if I called you darling when we're alone? Very well, darling. Oh, that must be the morning staff getting ready to bring you and your father down for breakfast. Here, you go ahead. I'll try to calm your father down a bit. Hopefully, all will be well by the time he reaches the dinner table. Well, the arranged courtship ceremony isn't for another month, so I suppose we do have time to figure out what to do by then. In the meantime, just act as casual as possible. Though, I'm not sure if I'll be able to do the same. I'm not sure if I'll be able to get any work done today. Not with thoughts of you racing through my mind. Now here, you go and get yourself something to eat. I'll speak to your father. I'm still to escort you to your horseback riding lessons, yes? Good. We'll talk about it more on our way there. I'll see you later, darling.